Good morning, folks, and welcome back to another episode live from Jerusalem with our wonderful friends in Europe and beyond. We're going to continue with Rabbi Chaim Goldberg, who we appreciate when he does share Torah with us. We are learning so much, and we're probably continuing today in the book of Genesis, so we look forward to that. So, folks, how is everybody doing today?
Fine. Everybody is, I see, muted.
That's because they're so attentive, Rabbi. We all want to hear Torah.
Not a problem at all. So, hi, everybody. Good to see you all. I'm sorry for the last 2 times that we missed it a bit, but it was okay. Good to see you all also. Matas, I see that he's speaking there with the friends. Timothy, you're growing up a beard. Be careful. We will think that you're a rabbi. You know,
he's trying to look like you.
No, it's okay. Feel comfortable. It's very nice. It suits you, so feel comfortable. Matas, I also spoke very good conversations with Aurimas. He will contact you. He will start speaking with you. Okay, Matas, you can hear me? I'm not sure that you can hear us. Let's dive inside. Let's start learning. After a few weeks that we didn't have a lot of learning, so let's try to learn a bit new things that I think that good to see also Daniel. New things that I think that you don't really. I think we never spoke about them, so this is the opportunity. I will share the screen. Can you see the screen with me? Yes?
Perfect, sir.
Yeah.
For okay. Sure, Rabbi.
Excellent. I want to say we never finished with the flood and with the Noach situation. So we spoke a few things about the flood, but I want to emphasize another 2 or 3 things inside this issue, and then we might continue on to the next stage. So if we're going for that, let's jump to the flood. Those are the verses of the flood. I think there is one thing that I never explained that we need to know. Let's start. I will say a few notes about the flood. We're not going to read every verse, but we're going to say a few notes about the flood. The word teiva, or what we call ark,
right,
or the place where people are sitting down like a boat, okay? In Hebrew have another meaning, and the other meaning is the word word. When I want to say a word, it's the same word like I'm saying ark. And this is where, when we're looking inside to the numbers of the ark and what exactly Noach built up, he also built up the word of God. And this is something that he messed up, I will say it like that. God said to him, go and build up the ark, or what we say, in English we say ark, but in Hebrew we say teva, okay? I will show it to you here, Dan. You see, with the word teva, when God is saying to Noach, ויאמר השם לנוח, בוא אתה וכל ביתך אל התיבה, כי אותך ראיתי, צדיק לפניי בדור הזה. And in English you say the word ark. In Hebrew, the word teiva is also the word itself. How do I call this word in Hebrew? Okay, so the meaning of this word is God said something. But when I want to say that this is a word, I'm saying the word teiva. It's the same word like the word ark. So God basically didn't say to him, he did not say to Noach, build an ark. He said to Noach, build my name. My name. Build my name to the nation, just like Abraham did. Okay? This is why I'm opening another time. I'm opening the Bible. We're going to jump here today from one verse to another verse. So if I will continue on to Genesis, and I will show something about Abraham. think this is here. If it's not, it's one chapter more or less. Abraham, no, next one. Another two. Abraham, it is saying very, let's see. No, it's the next one. I'm sorry. I missed it this time. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We're waiting to hear the thought that you want to share.
No, it is the last one. Oh, come on. Here it is. Why did I move? There is a verse, okay, that Abraham Vayita. I'm reading number 30.
33.
In chapter 21. Vayita eshel bive'er shava vayikra sham b'shem Adonai Elolam. Please read it.
And he planted in Aishel in Beersheba, and he called there in the name of the Lord, the God of the world.
Okay, so he called there in the name of the Lord. The name of the Lord in Hebrew is the Teiva, the word of the Lord. The name of the Lord of the Lord in Hebrew is the word of the Lord. It's the ark of the Lord It's the same word, it's the same meaning. So when God is asking Noah build an ark, basically he's expecting him, Noah, that he will do what Abraham is doing here. But Noah understood him in the technical way, and he built up an ark. Therefore, what Noah did, he built the ark for himself, not for the rest of the world, while Abraham understood it in the meaning of let's speak the name of the Lord, to present it to all of the people around the world. And Abraham, who understood it in this meaning, he showed it to everybody in the world. He didn't only organize it for himself. This is one thing that I wanted to mention. I think we said it before, but I'm not sure that we were clear enough. So I'm explaining this again. This is point number one. Okay, I hope it was clear enough. If someone have any questions, this is the time. If not, we will continue on. Yes, Renat.
Do I understand correctly that Noah got it wrong, that it wasn't about building a physical ark, it was about building a spiritual ark? And what about the verses where God calls Noah to take the animals into the ark?
It's very hard to say that Noah, first of all, you understand it. You understand correctly. Noah, instead of building up a spiritual ark, with the word of God, and to spread it around the world, instead of that, he did a material ark, and he put everybody inside. But it's very hard to say about Noah that he was wrong. We see three people along history. We see in a moment, I will jump as usual, and I will show you things that will blow your mind as usual. And we see three people, okay? We see Noah, we see Abraham, and we see Moses. And we see them in three different times of history. And we see each one of them is doing things different one than each other. Noah basically is doing mainly for himself. And Abraham is trying to spread the word of God to everybody else. And Abraham also is doing another thing. He is praying when Sodomite and Amorah is going to be demolished. Abraham is praying for them and asking from God that they won't get demolished. Even though he failed, if I will call it like that, his prayer wasn't accepted. After all, he did much more than Noah, one step ahead than Noah. Moses is already another step ahead. He is managing not only to pray, but he is managing also to prevent God from demolishing, from killing, from destroying all of the Hebrew nation, and bringing him, Moses, to become the next generation of the Hebrew nation, and only from him. And we're going to see it now. We are relating everybody, after all, to Noach. When I'm saying that Noach himself had a spark inside. At the end of his generations, I will say it like that, there will be Abraham, and there will be also Moses. And we can't compare them one to each other, because each one of them also were living in a different generation. It's like you will ask today, for example, Renat, if 70 years ago or 80 years ago, the Jewish people, why did I had a meeting today with an interesting person from Canada, okay, not far from Calgary. Timothy and Dan, be aware, he's a Christian. He is a Christian, but he is doing something very interesting in the last 30 years. And what he's doing, he's saying something amazing. He's saying, we see today that the prophets of Zechariah and the prophets of Yeshaya, that is saying that the Hebrew people will come back to Israel. It says that they will come back 700 years ago. And now it's happening in front of our eyes. So my mission, this is what he is, as a Christian, he's saying. He believes in Jesus and everything. He's not a Noachite. He says, my mission is to collect money and to help the Jewish people to come to Israel. And this is what he's doing. Now, I'm asking you or not. 80 years ago, let's go back 80 years ago. Can you say that he didn't listen, his father, his grandfather, I don't care, didn't listen, the generations then, didn't listen to what the prophets have to say? 70, 80 years ago, the situation of the Hebrew nation and how we were spread all over the world, and we did redemption, we didn't came back to our homeland, was in a situation like that we can't say that we could have heard the words of the prophets like we can hear them today. So we're in a different generation, therefore we have different actions. So you can't really compare it. The bottom line, you can't really compare between Noah, Abraham, and Moses. But you can say that there are three ways of working, and mainly because Noah did what he did, and he only reserved himself, and he only, protect himself and the animals and everything else that God went with him. You understand, only to build up a material ark, so bring inside all the animals and do everything else. Because what he did then, so 10 generations after that, when Abraham is alive, he can do the next step, to start to pray, to start to do things for people who are not worshiping God. But he didn't also manage, in his generation to do the best. So we're going another 4 or 5 generations, and then Moses is doing the next step, and he's managing more. So you can't really can compare. But on the other side, we are doing those. We are looking to compare one each other, so we can learn today how we can work. Because today we are not in the generation of Noah, and we're not in the generation of Abraham, we're not in the generation of Moses. We already have 4,000 years since then, where a lot of things was said in the prophets, and today we can see them. Therefore, we're in a different stage. So today we have some people who already really moving totally from all the idolatry of Jesus. There are people who are still there, but they're starting to speak differently in relation to the Jewish nation. And we believe that today, if you're asking me, okay, in the last 2 or 3 years, we are in the turning point where another 100 years, people will say, everything started in our lessons. Not only our lessons, because Dan is doing a lot of lessons, and he's also doing the other things. Not only he is doing, we have few people who are doing. We want to do a very big conference in the United States another few months. We started to speak about this. So, the situation today is moving on. But on the other side, still, we can do some sort of comparing between those things. to understand how we need to behave today. Okay, Renat? Are you starting to understand much better for that? Okay, excellent.
Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, now I want to go inside to a very interesting situation, and therefore I need to open this again in another window, and we're going to see something that will blow your mind a bit to understand this situation. I'm going to go to Exodus, but before I'm going to go to Exodus, I will go back to Genesis, and we will go to chapter 6, where we find that Noah was a very God really liked Noah. This is what we said. While God on one side said that I'm going to read just before I'm going to read this verse. Okay, I'm going to read verse number 3. Okay, let's read verse number 3. ויאמר אדוני לא ידון רוחי באדם לעולם בשגם הוא בשר והיו ימיו 120 שנה. Please read it, Dan.
And the Lord said, let my spirit not quarrel forever concerning man, because he is also flesh, and his days shall be 120 years.
Okay. Who do we know that was living only exactly 120 years? Do you remember? Someone remember? Okay. It's not a test, so it's unfair. Who's that? Timothy?
Moses.
Okay, so let's see it. Okay, let's see it in a moment. I will do it from here. Okay. On Moses, it says loud and clear, without any. We'll go to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy. Okay. Oh, come on. We'll go to the last chapter. Deuteronomy. I'm saying it right? Okay. Here it is. ומשה בן 120 שנה ומותו, לא חהתה עינו ולא נס לחו. Please, Dan.
Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eyes had not dimmed, nor had he lost his natural freshness.
Okay, now we all know in the Hebrew language, I already said it a few times, it's a very unique language where we have in each letter is like a word, like an arc, it's a teiva, and when we are doing few letters together, we're getting a bigger arc, a bigger teiva, a bigger meaning, okay, for this thing. So when I'm going to speak about the word Moshe is it have a value of numbers, okay? The shin, the letter shin, this one. Let's go from the beginning, and please, Dan, write it down for yourself so we will see that we are right. The men, this letter is 40. The letter shin is 300, and the letter 300. So we have 340, and the letter hey, the last one, the letter hey is 5. So we have 345. Let's go back. I want to say something amazing that is not really known. In the Babylon Talmud, they are asking a very weird question. And the question is, from where we can find that Moses was in the Bible? Now, you're asking yourself, what a weird question. Read in chapter number 2, in Exodus. And from there on, except for one place, every time it says Moses. So how come you ask yourself from where Moses in the Torah, from where we can find Moses in the Torah? And the answer is even more weird, because it says like that. This word, let's look at this word. This word, I will explain this word in English in a moment. This is hinting that Moses is in the Torah, in the Bible. This word, we're speaking here about Genesis. It's chapter 3, you see, when God is already upset. I will say it like that. God is upset that he built up man and he wants to kill him. And it says, you know why this verse is showing about Moses? Two reasons why. First of all, if we will take the weight of the words, let's do it again. The word bet is 2. Dan, please write down 2. Okay. The letter shin is 300. And then the word gimel, the next word is 3. And the word mem is 40. How much do we have?
The same, 345.
345. So it's the same weight. More than that, they're saying in the Babylon Talmud. You see that he is saying here that these men will live 180 years, right? And his days should be 120 years. Therefore, we can find here Moses. Now, it looks like very, I will say, weird discussion in the Babylon Talmud, because you don't need to go to this verse. You can go to a different verse. But I want to go inside a bit and to explain in a deeper way why our sages are saying that you can find a hint of Moses already inside the flood, inside this story of Noah Ark. And to explain that, I want to jump a moment also to the Exodus book and to go to the story of Moses. The story of Moses is that it's chapter 2, sorry, just a moment, let's find chapter 2. The story of Moses is starting with a very interesting thing. It starts with that, we're going to read it, okay? It starts that someone from the Levitak, from Levitak, took his wife, and please, and let's read for a moment the first 4 verses. We're going to read the 10 verses. So let's read them. Dan, read it, slowly and clearly, so everybody will understand what's happening here. It's a very simple story.
A man of the house of Levi went and married a daughter of Levi. The woman conceived and bore a son. And when she saw him that he was good, she hid him for 3 months. When she could no longer hide him, she took for him a reed basket, smeared it with clay and pitch, placed the child into it, and put it into the marsh at the Nile's edge. His sister stood from afar to know what would be done to him.
Till now, before we will continue, if we will ask ourselves till now, in verse number 3, what exactly is the mother building?
A reed basket.
An ark. An ark.
A teva.
An ark, right? She's building an ark. Okay, let's continue on. The story is known, but not until the end of it, okay? Okay, let's read on verse number 5.
Pharaoh's daughter went down to bathe to the Nile, and her maidens were walking along the Nile, and she saw the basket in the midst of the marsh, and she sent her maidservant, and she took it. She opened it, and she saw him, the child, and behold, he was a weeping lad, and she had compassion on him. And she said, "This is one of the children of the Hebrews." His sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and call for you a wet nurse from the Hebrew women, so that she will nurse the child for you?" And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Go." So the girl went and called the child's mother.
Read also verse number 9.
Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this child and nurse him for me, and I will give you your wages." So the woman took the child and nursed him.
Okay, so it's a very known story, okay, that she built an ark and he was inside. And I want to jump in a moment other verses of Exodus, where God is very, I will say, He is very angry on the Hebrew nation because they did the crown craft, and He is saying that He is going to kill. I will say, I'm going to kill all of the men, all of the Israelite men, and you, Moses, is going to replace them. So Moses is praying for them, not like Noah. He is praying for them, and then let me see that I'm in the right place. Okay, and then God is saying to Moses. God is saying to Moses and also to the Hebrew nation that He is not going to go in front of them and to lead them. Please, let's read verse number 2. Instead of God is to lead the Hebrew nation, He's going to do something else. Please read verse number 2.
I will send an angel before you, and I will drive out the Canaanites, the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites.
Okay, so who is going to lead us? Not God anymore, but some sort of an angel. Moses is very angry on God. He can't accept it. I'm jumping a few verses, and then Moses is saying something amazing to God, and I'm asking, I want to read, okay, verse number 12 and verse number 13, and the reply of God in verse number 14. So please read verse number 12 and 13.
Moses said to the Lord, look, you say to me, bring this people up, but you have not informed me whom you will send with me. And you said, I have known you by name, and you have also found favor in my eyes. And now, if I have indeed found favor in your eyes, pray, let me know your ways, so that I may know you, so that I may find favor in your eyes, and consider that this nation is your people. So he said, can you scroll it down? He said, my presence will go, and I will give you rest.
Okay, so basically Moses is saying to him, I don't want any angel, I want you. And God is saying to him at the end, my presence will go. Okay, I will go, not an angel. But Moses is saying twice, not once, twice, Moses is saying something very interesting. He's saying, I have known you. You said about me, God, you said about me that I know you by name, and that you have also found favor in my eyes. When did God said that He found?
Yeah, it's not recorded.
But it says only in another place. It says, and the second time also in verse number 13, right? He says, so
if I have indeed found favor,
that I might find favor in your eyes. I never heard that God said on Moses that He found matzat chen beinai, that He found favor in His eyes. I only heard once that God said it about someone else.
But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord.
I found it only with Him, right? So maybe Moses is saying those words. He's saying, when I was inside Noah, and I'm part of Noah, then you also found God. You also found favor in my eyes. Where do I see this hint? In a very interesting way. It's where, let's read now verse number 10 in Exodus. Okay, the child grew up.
And she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became like her son. She named him Moses, and she said, for I drew him from the water.
From what water is he drawing? I think she's hinting here from the flood. I think she's hinting
Most
here.
would simply say the Nile.
No, she's hinting here that she took him like from the flood. Now, why I'm saying this? Because what mainly Moses did in his life, he brought to the Hebrew nation, or to the world, not only for the Hebrew nation, the 10 Commandments. He went up for 40 days. Remember that? All of you remember that? He was 40 days. I can show you the verses if you want. It's also in the Deuteronomy. He went for 40 days up to the mountain, and after 40 days that he was there, he came down and he gave us the 10 Commandments. He gave us the Bible. Okay, in the eyes of I will say of our sages, there is a verse that everybody who is thirsty go and drink water. When our sages are saying this, and not it's already something that was said with one of the prophets. So our sages are saying the water is only a parallel or something as an example for the Bible, for the Torah that God is pouring down. Arubot HaShamayim. I want to show it to you in Genesis also. Two things that we're going to see now in Genesis. I don't need to see that. We need to go another chapter. Sorry, just a moment. We're going to see with Noach, first of all, the 40 days we're going to see. And we're also going to see the words that God opened the heaven. When God opened the heaven, he opened it when he brought the Bible, when he brought the Torah, and when he did the flood. So let's see it inside. Let's read verse number 4. כי לימים עוד 7 אנוכי ממטיר על הארץ 40 יום ו40 לילה ומחיתי את כל היקום אשר עשיתי מעל פני האדמה. Please read verse number 4.
For in another 7 days I will make it rain upon the earth for 40 days and 40 nights.
40 days, 40 nights. It's exactly the time that God gave us also the Bible, the 10 Commandments. Okay, let's continue on. This is one thing. Now let's read verse number 11.
In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month on the 17th day of the month, on this day, all the springs of the great deep were split, and the windows of the heavens opened up.
The windows of the heavens. What is the windows of the heavens? It's God is speaking to us. Now, since Noah, or his, I will say, community, his generation wasn't in a proper manner, so they didn't, when God opened the heavens, what happened is that there was a flood. In Moses' time, when he went up for 40 days, and God opened the heavens, his heavens, so God gave us the Bible. Okay, this is the difference. So when Moses is saying, you found flavor in my eyes, he's saying, when I was inside Noah, okay, and we can see with Moses a lot of hints that he was also part of the flood, but in his generation, the flood generation, he didn't manage to open the heavens, so we will get the Bible.
Wow.
The next generation, a few generations later on, 15 generations later on, he managed to open heavens and to give us the Bible and not to give us a flood. This is all the hints inside here. So this is another thing I wanted to teach here, to show here in the way that we are looking at. So it's relating again to what Renat, you asked before. We are looking and we know that we have Noah, we have Abraham, and we have Moses. And each of them in his generation acted a bit differently in a higher level, until we came also to Moses. All of them are inside Noah, I will say it like that. But Moses is much more clear that it's already being hinted. Remember the verse that we said before we started Noah, Beshagam ubasar, where he is also a flash. So Moses already hinted inside the flood. But the flood was materialistic, I will say it like that. And it was really water, and we'll explain in a moment why. But in Moses' time, it was the heavens, the windows of the heavens opened, and God spoke with us and gave us the Torah. God gave us the Torah. I want to remind all of us also another very important verse that we said. We learned it, and I said it, I hinted at it already once. We're saying here, in verse number 1, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim et haaretz. Please read it down. In the beginning.
In the beginning of God's creation of the heavens and the earth.
And the next verse is, והארץ הייתה תוהו ובוהו וחושך על פני תהום רוח אלוהים מרחפת על פני המים. Please.
Now the earth was astonishingly empty, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters.
What we lost from verse number 1 to verse number 2? What was the thing that we lost? That
the heavens.
Speaking the heavens. And where God is starting to speak with us with the heavens, the first time is in the flood, when He's opening the heavens. The second time will be when He is giving us the Bible in the Ten Commandments. And this is where we see also a very similarity between Moses and Noah, and we're trying to compare exactly how each one of them reacted in his generation. Point to notice. Okay?
Wow.
Questions till now. If you have questions, if not, we will continue on another interesting insight, important insight.
Yes, Rabbi, I have 2 questions, if I can.
Yeah, feel comfortable, yes.
Okay, so one question is about Noah. Why did Noah, or why didn't Noah succeeded in his kiruv, comparing him, for example, to Abraham? He had 120 years to the flood. When he was informed about flood, he had 120 years, and only his sons went into the ark. None other person of existent went with him. So why didn't he succeed in? I think that he tried to influence other people to change their ways and to do tshuva and to go together.
You're right. I don't really have an answer for that, because first of all, I wasn't there, so I don't really know exactly why he didn't succeed. I think that it's related to the level of the generation there. Okay, they were so corrupted. I'm going to explain this a bit in a moment. They were so corrupted in their moral behavior, so they didn't have the ears to listen to that. I will ask you it's a bit differently, okay? Let's ask today, Matas, if we will go to all of the Lithuanian people who believe in Jesus. They believe that Jesus is God, okay? With God and as God, part of God. And he was trying to explain to them, after all of the things that you learned and you understood and you acknowledge today, that you can't say that yes, Jesus was God. So for you it's obvious, but ask all of the people around, and we have more than 1 billion people like that who believe that Jesus is God. So how come we are all failing? So you can't say that we are failing, we are moving, okay? But after all, after 2,000 years that a lot of people believe that Jesus is God. So there are people who believe like that, who believe in that. It's not easy to change, to switch. It will take 100 years. I think that today, because of the technology and because we are moving very fast with a lot of things, if you will see, for example, go to the 9/11, okay? Something like, how long it was? Something like 10 years ago, almost, 12 years ago, something like that. No, 9/11? 18 years ago, sorry. 18 years ago, okay, no one had a camera in their phones. Today, you're buying your phone with a question, what is exactly the camera, what it could do, okay? If you remember in the 9/11, where people took the films and started to film outside, only from the second tower, we have all the pictures, because the first one, nobody expected it, and nobody took a phone and started to film. So the jump is very fast. So if you're asking me, I think it will take much faster than 100 years. Noah time, Noah age, I will say, the generation was so corrupted, so it was so far from them, and it didn't manage. It's not that he didn't want to. I'm sure that he wanted. Also, as you said, we have 120 years that he prepared this ark. So he planted the trees, and after 70 years, he started to sow them, to reorganize them. People asked him, what are you doing? People asked him, what are you doing? You know, it's not one day. And even though, I'm going to show this in a moment, they were really so corrupted that they didn't have anything else to do. Noah didn't manage. It's very hard to judge him in our eyes. It's like I asked before, Renat, if we can compare today for 70 years ago, 80 years ago, when we didn't have, when the Jewish community was slaughtered in the gas chambers in Auschwitz and other places. Yeah. You can't compare this generation to today. You can't, okay? When I'm taking today when people are coming to Israel to visit, and we're taking them from one side to the Holocaust Museum, and straight after that, we're taking them to the Herzl Museum, where they can see how we established the state. And then we're taking them outside, and we're starting to read with them the prophets that is saying that Jerusalem will be, bless you, that Jerusalem will be wide opened, and a lot of people will live there, people that are living for a long time, old people and young people, and we're showing all Jerusalem. And people are starting to cry because they understand that they're inside the prophets. But 100 years ago, we were not there. Wow. So again, it's very hard to try to compare too much of the generations. Today, it's much easier for us to discuss things because we see the prophets in front of our eyes. 100 years ago, it wasn't there. It was, only
distant.
Few Jewish,
fragments.
Not stable Jewish thought that it will happen. I would say like that 100 years ago. So it's very hard this question and to give an exact answer. We need to do the best that we can do in our days. This is, I think, the most important thing that we have. Okay.
Thank you. I have another question about Chaim. How come it is said that a person has to work in the sake of heaven, L'Shem Shamayim, not in the sake of Hashem, not in the sake of Elohim, not in the sake of somebody else, but in the sake of heaven, L'Shem Shamayim, or Lo L'Shem Shamayim? Why Shamayim is so crucial in this case?
First of all, it's a very nice question, and it's also a bit complicated question. But I will give you an answer in. I want to say, remind me another few minutes because I have a short time, and today I need to finish at 7:30. I want to say another thing about Noach, and then I will also answer that in a short way. And maybe next time we will start with this nice question. It's a very good question. Okay, we need to understand what is Shamayim. I think that it's on one of my courses in Udemy, but I'll explain this again here. I want to say, first of all, it's very important for me to say another very important point in the issue of the floods. Okay?
You got 15 minutes, Rabbi. No problem.
I know. This is why. I'm going to read verse number 4, and then you're going to read this in English. Ki li'amim od shiva. God is asking, I will say something before. God is asking from Noah to come into the ark. Okay, this is what he's asking him, and also bring inside also all the animals and everything else. And then God is saying to him like that, I have a plan. כי לימים עוד 7 אנוכי ממטיר על הארץ 40 יום ו40 לילה ומחיתי את כל היקום אשר עשיתי מעל פני האדמה. Please read it on.
For in another 7 days I will make it rain upon the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will blot out all beings that I have made off the face of the earth.
So first question I have, why do we need to wait for another 7 days? What happened there that we need to wait another 7 days? And the answer is being written down in Rashi. Okay, so please, Dan, read this one. These
are the 7 days of mourning for the righteous Methuselah, for the Holy One, blessed be he, had considered for his honor and delayed the retribution. Go and calculate the years of Methuselah, and you will find that they ended in the 600th year of Noah's life.
Okay, what we're saying is Methuselah, who was forefather of Noah, he was also very righteous. He was also very great man, gentleman. And this is why God decided not to bring the flood, not to wipe up retribution, all the situation, until he waited for Methuselah, his 7th day of dying. He is done.
I want to ask a question that it seems to be the perfect time. I mean, because you're talking about Hashem delaying the incident for Methuselah's sake. In Ezekiel 14, in Ezekiel chapter 14, verse 14, right? It talks about, even though these three men, say Noah, Daniel, and Job, were in the midst by their own righteousness, they could only deliver themselves, declares the Lord. I wonder if you could you compare that, because this has to do with something very, very important. I mean, if Hashem delayed the flood for 7 days for Methuselah's sake, there's something in Ezekiel 14, verse 14. Could you elaborate a little on that, or is there a parallel, or am I reaching here?
No. You're going to a different thing. It's not a problem. I will deal with this next time. It's really a different issue. Okay, a very important and different issue. I'm going back. Okay.
Okay. Very good.
We have now 2 questions, very good questions. But what I want to say, the first thing is, the Midrash, our sages have, saying to us that God waited 7 days for Methuselah, because God honored Methuselah. And in those 7 days, all of the universe felt that they came to the period of Eden, like the days of the Messiah. Now, what it's trying to say, it's amazing. It's trying to say that, I have a question. Why today we are not bringing ourselves to the stage, to the period that we can feel that we have no war, and that everybody have something to eat, and everybody can live calm and comfortable with everybody else? It's because of a moral behavior of people. It could be the leaders, it could be also other people, or some normal people. Because of the moral behavior, we have a problem. And this is what is hinting here. It's being hinted here, that Methuselah was righteous, and when he died, everybody managed to understand that the environment could be like we are already in Eden, like when the Messiah came. Now, what was the problem of the people in the flood? It says already in the chapter before that they were stealing one from each other, that they were behaving immorally one with each other. And this is what brought the flood. And what is being hinted here in this story, I will say it like that, when God is saying another 7 days, when there is a tsunami, nobody is telling us before it's going to be a tsunami. Be aware, another 7 days. Be aware, another 6 days. Suddenly, there's a tsunami, something like almost 18 hours ago, one of the mountains in New Zealand suddenly popped up and 100 people died. But nobody said to us, another 7 days it's going to happen, another 6 days it's going to happen, another 5 days. Why? Because if it's something that is coming naturally, so the nature is doing what it is, and that's it. And maybe we can find ourselves suddenly not in the right place. Here we understand that this is something that was in order, that God decided to do, and he knew exactly when and what, and people could have prevented if they were behaving differently. Therefore, we need to understand, the conclusion is that our behavior is deciding how the nature will behave.
Oh, that's huge.
You understand what's happening here? This is what's written down here. What's written down here is that our behavior, this is how or what will, the nature will react to our moral behavior. And if, today we're sitting in all sorts of very high, big buildings in the towns inside, and when we are very hungry, we're going to the supermarket and we have a lot of food there, and everything is calm and everything is nice. So we are so far from this understanding, but this is what is written down here. It's not related to the Hebrew nation only. It's related to all mankind. It's
interconnectivity of everything, yes.
The moral behavior can bring us to a better life or to withdraw us back to a very hard life, and even the nature will react to our moral behavior.
Wow.
You with me, all of you? You're looking at me like,
Rabbi, all I can say is my mind then tries to balance that with the complete and utter sovereignty of Hashem. And yeah, some days, it's amazing to know when we should respond and when we need to say, Hashem, let your will be done. It's very, very difficult. But yeah, I find the more we learn, the more we know we should be doing. Yeah.
This is true. By the way, it was amazing to see today. I'm going back to the meeting that I had today with this very interesting person. Again, he's a Christian. He's working very hard in Canada also and everything. And one of
that's only about 6 hours from me to Calgary.
Yeah, I know. And one of the things that he said to me, look, when I suddenly read all those prophets, and I understood that, we are in this, it's happening in front of our eyes, and I asked myself what I need to do. So I went to the priest in the church and asked him what to do, and he said to me, I don't know, just pray. And I went to the Jewish people, I'm speaking about 30 years ago, and asked them what I need to do, and they told me, go, you're Gentile, go somewhere else, you're not a Jewish. And he said to me, I felt I need to do something, so I know he stayed still with the idolatry and everything else, but on the other side, he's doing a lot of good deeds, okay, for fulfilling those prophets. But again, the main principle is we're going with him. We're going down to the question that we had in the beginning of the Kuzari. If you remember that he had a dream that the angel is coming to him all the time and saying to him, your will is good, but your actions are bad. So this man is doing good actions, even though he's still believing in idolatry and Jesus and everything else. So I don't want to go to him with this side. I want to say that to understand that our behavior is very influencing not only what's happening around us, but also the whole nature. And we have a lot of responsibility to the way that we are acting and the way that we are behaving, the way that we are speaking, the way that we are thinking. And as more that we will understand our responsibility and how much it's influencing all over the world, all of the levels of the world, this will give us the responsibility, I will say, to pick up this bag on our shoulders and to behave much more better in our life.
Responsible, yeah.
The responsibility. Yes, I think that in Hebrew we said already that responsibility is also putting inside the word the other one and the word after me. All those words are inside this word responsibility. We spoke about this when we spoke about the brotherhood of Cain. Okay. Questions still now. Now I owe all of you two answers. First of all, I owe Matas for his question. Okay. In a moment, you will repeat your question again. And I owe you, Dan, for your question about Echezkel. Okay. With the verses there, we're going to speak about the verses. So those two things we will start next week. But Matas, again, your question, please. So I won't forget it for next week. You remember your question? What was your question?
Okay, so the question was about Shamayim.
Right,
Why
right,
it is
right,
so
yeah.
important, Shamayim, Lashem Shamayim. Person
Yeah.
should do his deeds, Lashem Shamayim, for example.
Yeah.
It's the ideal that we bless the Torah, that we will learn your Torah, Lashem Shamayim, Lishma. So why Shamayim is so important?
Yes, okay. So next time we will start with the Shamayim and with the Cheskel, and then we will continue on with the next stage, on the second side of the flood. And if you have any questions till now, I have another between 3 to
minutes.
7 minutes, something like that. I must go today. I'm sorry, I need to go at time today. If someone have anything to say, to ask, to answer, to say, I don't know what, this is your time also. Yes. Daniel, everything is okay. Good to see you.
We're quiet online, Rabbi. We have, we've got, some people, our regular people joining us on YouTube, but they're very quiet in the chat room today,
Not a problem,
which is unusual.
I just want to say thank you. It was amazing. It just blew my mind as always. So thank you very much, Rabbi.
You're welcome. It's the Jewish secret, so everything is okay. You had a lot of demonstration there in your town, right? In the last month.
Bogota.
In Bogota, there was a lot of problems there, right?
Yes, we talked a little bit about it last class with Dan. Yeah, things have become a little bit dangerous over here, I would say, but thanks God we're all okay. He's taking care of us. Like I feel like we're very safe. So it's all thanks to Hashem that everything is going smoothly.
Excellent, good to hear. I thought about you. You see, I thought about you a few times. Excellent, good to hear. Okay, Timothy, everything is okay.
Yeah, and thank you. I needed to hear that, I guess.
Not a problem. Okay, excellent. I will say also another thing with Matas. Matas, can you hear me? Matas, you can hear me, Matas? So I spoke also with the Orimas. He will contact you. You will have a discussion, and then you will tell me good time that we're going to speak, and we're going to continue on. Renat, you also part of this thing that they're doing there in Lithuania. So we're going to grow up also Lithuania, and then we're going to speak also with us to continue on with the ideas that we have in the United States. I also spoke with a person in Tzfat. He's a very lovely person, so we're going also to continue on. I feel in the last few months and weeks that we are jumping up one stage ahead. I can tell you from the Noah Haid World Center that today I'm also very inside there. We have a few discussions, I will say, mind-blowing discussions about our goals, our aims, and exactly actions that we're going to do in this coming next year. And I will share them with you also a bit in the next coming 2-3 weeks. You will start to listen, to understand all the ideas and the things that we're going to do. And I think that we're going to bring this this movement of the Noah Haid to another level, hopefully, with the help of God.
Excellent. That's the best point to leave this lesson on, Rabbi. It's now time, I guess, you've got to check out. I know you're a busy man, and I want to thank everybody for attending. And are we on for next week, Rabbi?
Yeah, next week, hopefully the same time, and hopefully nothing will disturb me after that, so we'll manage to sit down over, also as usual, a bit more. And 2 weeks from now, I think it's Hanukkah with me, but it's okay. We can give the lesson. Of course, we can do it. But it's also, I think, 2 weeks from now, it's we call this, I'm on air, it's a bit hard. We call this Kritzmech. Because the word Kritzmech in Hebrew, when you say it like that, it's like, something that it's not with a lot of strength. But so I think that it's Christmas 2 weeks from now. but we can do a lesson. Let's learn the real Torah.
Yeah.
We don't need to.
That day, 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from now, I have to do. I'm going to share my story on Tanakh Talk. It's a real exciting opportunity. Tanakh Talk out of Texas, and so I'm looking forward to that. That'll be on the Monday, the 23rd, as well, in the afternoon. But yeah, such a joy. Okay. So until next week, folks, we're going to check out Rabbi Chaim. It's always a joy. Thank you so much for sharing the depth of Torah, and may we learn to digest it and implement it. So until next time, folks, have a great day.